Free socks.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Triple B Experience. I'm your host, Bad Bubba Brewer, and tonight we are going to talk about something that has been big topics in pulp culture tonight, but we are missing one of the tripods. Shane had to tap out because Mr. Stodmiller is actually on vacation, so he can't come to every podcast this week. So he gave his review last night on the Steelers Dynasty show, but we still have the man who knows all about pulp culture, the action figure connoisseur, and we're going to get into this here momentarily. We're going to start off with some MCU news, and then we're going to go right into Spider-Man. But ladies and gentlemen, welcoming to the show is our man Cable. Hi, Cable.
Hey, I can't hear you, Bubba.
What? Hello? That's awesome. Oh, God. Check 1, 2. Oh, we just talked like 10 seconds before. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Damn, we just talked like 10 seconds before we went on.
And then I didn't have any way to tell you when you were doing the intro. I was like, I hope that's not a long intro. So if you want to run it back real quick for everybody.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Triple B Experience. I'm your host, Bad Bubba Brewer, and this is Cable. And we're going to talk about some MCU stuff and Spider-Man Brand New Day later on in the show. We'll let people know when we start talking about that, so you don't if you haven't seen it yet, you can jump off and then check us out later, because we don't want to be like that. So how you been, Cable?
I've been good. It's an exciting time to be a superhero fan and a film fan in general. This is a big year for movies. They think this is going to be the best year for cinema since pre-pandemic, doing huge numbers. We have, I think, 4 movies that have made $1 billion now. So it's
for people that don't have money, man. Last week they were spending it like gangbusters. So
yeah.
I just don't know, because there's a lot of MCU good, and then there's also some MCU bad, in my opinion, which is not good for the consumer. And I'm a diehard Marvel Comics guy. Like, I know 95% of my stuff. Now, I think with Marvel, and you can add to this, I think Marvel right now is just got DC in the corner with these movies, and they are just boxing, right into the body, and then they're going for some knockout blows. But the comic books are different than DC, where DC has turned that around, in my opinion, from what I have grasped, because I do have the Absolute line, which is blowing out in Marvel Comics to this day. But Marvel is doing stuff where it's like miniseries. You know what I mean? So let me get your concept on that real quick.
Yeah, it couldn't be two opposites of each other. Live action media, I think Marvel still has DC licked, which they have for the better part of 15 years now, or longer. And, that just comes from DC having to start over, and potentially not having a clear vision, a lot of studio interference. And I think Marvel under Disney has, obviously they've had some dark days. I think they are definitely on the rebound now. But yeah, when it comes to the comic medium, DC and Marvel both attempted a alternate universe comic line of roughly the same time, launching with Marvel's Ultimate universe, and then DC's Absolute. And DC is just dog walking Marvel right now. I mean,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, it sucks.
they
Especially,
almost can't do any wrong with the Absolute line.
well, especially me buying comic books. It's just ridiculous.
Right.
Like now Marvel is getting into where they're doing this horror, Fantastic Four is zombies or whatever it is. The X-Men's going to be vampires, and Spider-Man's going to be like a mutated spider, and it's all going to be in a horror type midnight kind of
I didn't
atmosphere.
even know anything about that.
Yeah, well, see what I mean? Like, but it's supposed to be this fall. I mean, because right now it's just, and what they're doing is they're not doing continuing stories. They're doing mini series, and then they just do like 5 issues and they quit and they do some other stuff. And comic books right now are like $5 a pop. So,
Right.
I mean, everybody's going to the movies now and spending money, which is great, and stuff like that. But I just want to get your take from the comic book stuff to the DC uh, and Marvel stuff, but also to the Disney Plus and Marvel. Like, there's the misconception and difference of the TV shows to the movies, and then they're not like this Blade thing is bullshit. Like realistically, I cannot believe that Ali would actually sign for all these years and never get nothing. And Kevin Feige could have been the biggest fumble of the MCU ever. Blade is a great character. It
Mm.
should be in movies somewhere, and I cannot believe that they couldn't get it done.
Yeah. We'll never know, I guess. There's a lot of rumors out there of different stories and different directions they've gone. Uh, Sinners, I haven't fact checked this myself, but the story I heard is that a lot of the costumes for Sinners were actually given to them by Disney, and that they were originally going to do a Blade story that was set in the early 1900s, and they
Okay.
got so far along that they actually had costumes made up, and then when they changed directions on the story, they were able to just give these costumes to the Sinners film.
Jesus.
And
Talk about economics 101.
yeah, and another story out there that I don't know how true it is that Blade, Marshall Ali's main Blade, was going to be a backseat character essentially in the movie. Why
would they even write that up? Why would they even do that and write that up and make it that way? Because Blade is
he's an immortal. So why are you passing the torch? Because that was the gist I got from what I heard. And it could be all BS, could be made up, but that was what I heard, was that he was going to take the back seat to, I believe, his daughter, who I think was introduced in the comics.
Yes,
recently.
yes, that's correct. Yes. Yeah. Which is bullshit.
And, it seemed like that was the direction Marvel and Disney was headed there a couple of years ago. They were really looking to do like the Young Avengers and get into the next generation of characters. We already know they're moving through the legacy characters a little bit. And it's tough. I don't know what the answer is, because somebody like Steve Rogers, as much as we want him to stay around forever, I absolutely love Chris Evans' performance as Steve Rogers. I think it's his only good acting, honestly, in his career.
He's not a good actor.
Right.
He's not. I mean, he just plays a great character.
Right. There's something about when you put him behind that shield and put those colors on him, it lines up. But realistically, he ages. We all do. And
yeah, which sucks.
We've never seen anything like this. It does, right? It absolutely does.
It's terrible.
But we've never seen anything like what Marvel and Disney are doing, where you've had a connected universe run this long. James Bond's been making sequels for 50 years, but they're not
different stories. It's different stories,
and it's different actors, and this is one streamlined timeline that it's rolling and it keeps going, and the actors are gonna age out. So, I don't know when they plan on ending it, but moving to the next legacy character just isn't taking. And if that's what they're
Well,
trying to do with Blade, I don't get it because he's an immortal.
Blade, Wonder. I love the Wonder Man TV show. I thought it was great.
Too.
I've watched some stuff where people liked the show, but they didn't like it because they weren't going to develop it more because of Slattery was not a major character in the MCU, so
Right.
why give him? Ben Kingsley's a great actor.
It
I mean, I
doesn't.
just thought it doesn't flesh right to me because these two characters, will we ever get to see them in certain situations? And by the time we do see Blade, a different Blade besides Wesley Snipes, who'd be 75 years old, it's going to be 10 years from now. And the Midnight Suns is a storyline that they need to put into Marvel and give it a different flair because it's just not, people just aren't taking it to watch Disney plus Marvel shows and go to movies. And
Yes.
there's the dynamics that's missing.
So I don't know if you've heard this, Bubba, but the latest thing I've heard that was one of the main reasons I wanted to have this portion of the show
Right.
is that Disney has made the decision to cancel all live action Marvel series going forward. The last one will be Daredevil season 3, and I'm of two minds of it. Part of me always wants more content. Part of me also, if it's going to be shitty, like She-Hulk, and I liked Ironheart. Ironheart wasn't bad, but other than Mephisto coming in, Aaron Reich's character, it's forgettable. That's the biggest thing. A lot of these series are forgettable. You move on from them. Some of them stand out. Loki, WandaVision.
I think
don't.
there's more good than bad. I think there's more good and bad in the DC Plus Marvel MCU universe, but that's what they were looking for concept, material. They have the material. All they have to do is do it right.
Right.
These comic books are the great. I mean, it's a Star Wars, but this is the source material. You know what I mean? Like this shit here, you can't mess it up, but they seem to do it. They can't put everything into the movie to get it right, like the comic book stuff.
Right.
But people are just, maybe we're getting too finicky, maybe we're getting too pretentious on this material. I'm okay with characters being swapped as long as it's good stuff. I'm not going to bitch. I'm only going to, if it made it Wonder Man a female and did something, yeah. The She-Hulk TV show had its place because in the She-Hulk comic book, that's how she was. But it didn't transpire over into TV media.
But then quality is the main concern. And,
yes,
people had complaints about She-Hulk, all these different things.
Oh, that's a good
complaints were valid. Some of them may have been, not all of them. But at the end of the day, the show just sucked. And there's been other ones too. And they were definitely going through a quantity over quality scenario. The whole reason is they don't make extra money from these series. It's just content to fill up the streaming app to keep people subscribed. And
what do they do now? What do they do now if they don't do any Marvel TV shows and stuff like that? Is it going to be all animation because Disney Plus? No, who the fuck's going to order Disney Plus now?
Well, I mean, you still got Star Wars. You still have, the whole MCU's on there. I'm sure there's a ton of rewatchability there.
Yes.
As the movies release, it'll be on there. And, Marvel's just a corner of the Disney app. Plus, they're rolling Hulu into it. Hulu is going to shut down, I believe, before the year ends or next year. And all of that will be migrated.
See, I didn't know that. They're gonna put it all on Disney
Plus. Yeah. They bought Hulu last year, I think. And now I believe you can find anything that's on Hulu on Disney Plus also.
Okay. Well, but Disney Plus, I pay. Well, when I pay $20 a month for, because I'm grandfathered in, I have the original. I've had Disney since it started, but everybody buys one of those V boxes now, which is a smart thing to do. Not that I'm telling people to go buy stuff, but yeah, they didn't do season 2. We'll never see a season 2 of Moon Knight. We'll never see. So if they're not bringing these characters that are good characters to the big screen, what the fuck? is the deal,
Yeah.
and that's the problem.
And I think, right around the time where the quality started to dip, right after we came out of COVID, they had to scramble, they had to change their scheduling around because of COVID. But also,
Right.
Kevin Feige was given the keys to the kingdom for all of Marvel. Originally, it was just the MCU was his, not even TV or anything. Then they gave him everything: comics, TV, movies.
They gave him too much.
Right. And then the stories you hear, like some of the writers, I'm not trying to just hate on She-Hulk the whole time, but it's
you can.
It's the facts. The writers of She-Hulk never read a comic book in their life. I also believe that's the story with the writers for Doctor Strange too. You have people, that are coming in, young writers in Hollywood that don't give a shit about the characters, the source material, just trying to,
You can't have that. You can't have that. That's like people never been a fucking professional wrestler writing storylines in a wrestling thing because they want the Hollywood the Hollywood dynamics of it. But realistically, every professional wrestling storyline has been rewritten and redone 17,000 times, and it's sometimes the original easiest concept is the best concept to do.
Yeah, and that's, there's this old, I don't know what you want to call it, idea that if you really boil down every book, TV show, movie, every kind of story-based entertainment media, that there's only actually like 4 stories that exist in the world, and they're all just derived from that.
Well, they finger bang each other. That's fucking funny. Go, Gene.
But so there's that announcement. I mean, it wasn't an official announcement. That there's that bit of news, and then I was questioning this to some people while I was watching the Comic-Con reveals 2 weekends ago. They announced they made a couple good announcements that we'll get to in a second that are for 2028. We have Doomsday this December. We have Secret Wars next year. And I'm talking to these people, and I'm like, why don't we know anything for 2027? Because filming schedules dictate we should at least know what's coming in the pipeline for 2027 at this point. It takes usually 6 months to get a movie most of the way made. And as we know, Disney always waits to the last minute to wrap up their post-production and things. From my understanding, there will be no movies released between the 2 Avengers movies also. So 2027.
They were supposed to do something at San Diego Con in between, and they didn't do that. They were supposed to do that, and they didn't do that, which would have been maybe I was praying at Midnight Suns, but that ain't the case. So now I have no idea.
Right. And it's odd that we would be this close to 2027 already, which we're only halfway through. But in terms of making Hollywood projects, it's weird that would be this far through the year and not even have an announcement.
Well, they did the Ghost Rider, with Ryan Gosling, and is that going to be, at least I don't.
But that's 2028.
Is he supposed? And it takes that long. So will he be in Doomsday or Secret Wars?
Very possible.
But which character is he? Johnny Blaze?
I believe so. They didn't confirm, but I think so. From what I've seen, he seems to match modern Johnny Blaze character designs. So but it's strange, but I don't necessarily hate it. I think Marvel is getting back. After all the success with Spider-Man and how great.
So less is more.
A little bit, and now it's quality over quantity. And without all this continuous content coming out, it's going to make us appreciate the projects a little bit more as they roll out. I used to eat up everything they would put out there, and it turned to shit. We had a couple years of really bad stuff, and I know, we lost Kang through circumstances that Disney and Marvel had no control over.
Yeah, I don't know, Gene. I just know. I think Secret Invasion and the She-Hulk. I think She-Hulk, then Secret Invasion, fucking made Marvel fans fucked off. And
Quantumania.
because they ruined that whole storyline of Secret Invasion because they got cheap. It was like a watered down and was a fucking cheap ass steak dinner. Instead
It
of
wasn't
paying
even that.
$25, you
I think,
got like $7.99.
yeah, I think Secret Invasion literally is the worst thing that has ever come out of the MCU.
I agree with you.
Thor: Love and Thunder is real close, but yeah, Secret Invasion was just terrible. And how much did you pay Samuel L. Jackson and Don Cheadle? I mean, you had huge names in that project. Emilia Clarke.
What? She was a big time actress, and now she's fucking not doing anything. She's working at Walmart. And then Don Cheadle in Armor Wars was supposed to be a movie. They canceled that out. So once again, Marvel with these characters canceling these movies that the African American Marvel characters are not getting their just desserts. But also too, I don't know if Don Cheadle as James Rhodes he's almost 70 some years old. They need to, nothing against him. I think they need to recast him, but also too, Robert Downey at the time was old too. So they're going to have to recast these characters with younger actors to try to, and that's what's going to happen after Secret Wars, I believe.
They're skirting that now. Kevin Feige said that it's not going to be that much of a reboot after Secret Wars. I'll see, I'll believe what I see it. I will say I'm going to go, unless quality drops, but I don't know what the right answer is because I don't want to see anybody recast. I'm not interested in that, but I don't I just said a little bit ago, everybody ages out at some point. So I don't know the answer. Maybe it is time to go out.
That's why we do these, because I have no idea. Because if I knew the answers, I wouldn't be doing these. I'd be calling those shots, I guess.
Because a lot of people have said that they should have just ended the MCU at Endgame, and I don't agree with that. But if they did, we would speak of the MCU in such reverence because you wouldn't have had any of those bad projects. The worst thing, but if it ends at Endgame, the worst project you have is Thor: Dark World, maybe. Incredible Hulk, kinda. So
they fucked him up. They fucked that character up. You guys know why? Dr. Doom, Robert Downey Jr. Well, it's Garth. It's going to be a different
variant, but we don't really know. I mean, that's the assumption.
We can only speculate. We're only speculating here, and we don't know. Yeah. I believe it's going to be, and Dr. Doom is supposedly need to be, and they brought him in to interject some kind of something back into these movies, and that's why. And then he's just, I think to me, the bigger company treats probably people like shit. It'd be like management treating a good employee that's great, like shit. So Disney Plus and all them Marvels, they probably do the same thing to their actors. And sometimes actors get too much full of themselves, but it always is the
I like Cheetah better anyway, so it doesn't matter to me.
I don't know. It's just that Dawn was, no offense, he wasn't the physical presence of James Rhodes. James Rhodes in the comics is a physical presence, and it just, Don Cheadle just didn't do that for me. He's a better actor, but the physical presence of James Rhodes, and now this is the backlash that Marvel and MCU is getting with about these not getting these characters out there and trying. The only, Black Panther is all they have, and they have more than that. And that's the thing, because it's a vast look. We can't even have, and I say this all the time, there's no female character that's going to get $1 billion in comic books. Wonder Woman is probably going to be the closest. That I just don't think a solo female comic book character is going to get you in the movies. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Captain Marvel already did it. Captain Marvel made $1 billion, but you're talking about the movie that came out between Infinity War and Endgame when the MCU was an all-time high. We're in a whole different world right now. And yeah, it's tough, because you got to have that name recognition. We just saw Spider-Man is the highest grossing movie of the year after.
Speaking of that, yes, we're going right into that. Right here. Boom,
yeah,
look at that.
So you got to give people the characters that they want if you want people to show up. And every once in a while, you'll find a diamond in the rough like Guardians. But I think there's a little bit of
nobody knew.
Right.
Nobody knew unless you were a comic book like whatever what the Guardians was about, and that's not even the original team. That's the sad thing to me.
Right.
But yeah, and are you Peter Parker or are you Spider-Man? On both. That was a top tier scene. DB, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Now let's get into this. Like last week,
you want to do just a general review, and then we'll warn everybody when we're going to go into actual spoilers.
If you didn't watch it, click back and check us back. We'll give you that option. But the way that the impact of this movie financially, that means everybody was going to the movies, you know what I mean, is something that I've never seen. There has never been this amount of money in a 4-day period ever. Even when Star Wars, when I was a kid, because of the inflation, that's what it was, based on.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, but also too, it's also $10 or $12 or $15 to go see a movie in certain places. Depends on where you go. Where did you go see it?
Waterfront.
And the presentation was there. That's,
Oh yeah. We saw it in the Dolby Digital. And it was great. It sounded great and everything. Now, Endgame did make more than Endgame hit 1 billion faster, but it was only by about a day.
Oh shit! $23 last night. Devil went $23 a ticket. Damn!
Wow.
No wonder. Holy shit!
And that was 7 years ago. So, which is crazy to think it's already been 7 years since Endgame. But however much inflation has changed in those 7 years, but it still almost beat it, and it did beat it for opening weekend. It had a bigger domestic opening weekend. It beat Endgame by about, I think, 10 million or something like that. And it's just Spider-Man. I mean,
well, Tom Holland. To me, Tom. Look, I understand that Maguire and the Garfields and Tom Holland to me is the quintessential Spider-Man, Peter Parker in all these franchise movies.
I agree.
I mean, he's just something. He has the look. He has the ways that he's Parker, the way he is Spider-Man. I mean, now the director was the same director who did Wonder Man
and Shang-Chi.
Yeah. And
which I think makes him one of the best creative voices that Disney has for Marvel, since James Gunn is over working for Warner Brothers with DC. Him and Ryan Coogler, I think they are, and then the Russo brothers, we'll see how Doomsday turns out, but I think those are their best avenues for good, strong creative input.
Well, because this movie, it went a different way. Like the Spider-Man Brand New Day comic book thing was, he married, MJ, and they were married, and Aunt May got shot and was dying, and Mephisto had to come in, and you know what I mean, and having Mephisto, hopefully in Ghost Rider, be Mephisto, just not Sacha Baron Cohen, you know what I mean. Have him, the special effects would be great, and add that concept into the supernatural into Marvel. But it was really, it opened up. Didn't you think it opened up the same way that Fantastic Four? Because what they did was they brought all these villain characters in, and they all got, you know, the fucking character that got the most time in 10 seconds was fucking Tombstone? Like,
they made it sound like he was going to be a major character before.
Exactly. Yes.
And they did a montage, basically, which we're really not going into too many spoilers yet, everybody. But they did a similar thing, and I like that. I'm fine with that because, the characters we saw at the beginning, and they recreated a bunch of comic
covers, all the covers. The covers,
That was
you're looking
cool.
at maybe 5 or 6 Spider-Man covers,
Hmm.
maybe 7, maybe more. Like, and I went to see it in fucking Indiana, and I fucking barely saw Boomerang because of Indiana's fucking great movie fucking screen fucking display. And I just feel between Sony fucking all these other, because Sony is no more Sony spin-off Spider-Man characters. They fucking
Yes,
are done, which
which
they
I
should
think
have
that's
never.
another fantastic bit of news
Yes,
that come out.
that's
Uh,
great because they sucked. It was just they were just
yeah.
trying to wrench that towel
Hmm.
as much as they could for fucking money, and nobody was buying
That's what
anything
it felt
because they
like.
knew.
You could feel it. It didn't feel like making superhero movies to make superhero movies. You know,
Right.
we have Clayface coming out later this year, which I'm cautiously optimistic about.
But the
That does
trailer for that, for me, I'm not into the concept, but to me, it sounds interesting and it makes
Mhm.
the storyline maybe a little different approach. Like I will tell you this off. I'm verting from Spider-Man just briefly. I saw fucking Obsession, and holy shit, like that was fucked up. Like, so if you can create characters and you can write good screenplays, stuff can transpire. And
For
I'm
sure.
not into that kind of genre, but I do take what you say when you go to the movies to heart. And I was like, holy fuck, that actress was whatever. So,
Oh,
yeah, Marvel needs to do that. And they can do that now because now it's like a clean slate. Like with Spider Man Brand New Day, it seems like it's all the shit's clean. Spider-Man is the Spider-Man character because it's what we want to see. The more visual effects of him, swinging around New York City was fucking good.
I love the part. It was in the trailer, but I love the part where he's just free falling, and they show his face inside the mask.
Yes,
I love that. That's just something we haven't seen, something
right.
new. Which this is for 9 Spider-Man movies now, plus his appearances in other Marvel films, and you get something new and fresh that you haven't seen before. It's
Hmm.
great. And yeah, exactly what you're saying, Bubba. And that's why I mentioned Clayface. Does Clayface need a movie? Probably not.
No.
Was anybody, myself included, clamoring for a Clayface movie? No. But they announced it. They
No.
said it's part of the DC universe, and it doesn't feel like a cash grab like Sony's movies did. It feels
Mhm.
like they have a story to tell with this character. They think it will add value to their universe, and I'll give it a shot. But Sony's just pumping this stuff out just for a pay.
Sony has so much. They just don't have the concept of doing it right. They fucked
They
up the
don't have
Sinister
people that give a
Six. And that's the problem, and that's why they're not fucking successful, and they're only successful with Spider-Man and never gonna sell that fucking they're
full
never getting rid of him. They're never
right.
gonna get rid of
That.
him.
And the reason these Spider-Man movies are any good, or they're as good as they are, is Disney's involvement, specifically Kevin Feige. And you know, there's a huge chunk of Sony doesn't make these movies. Sony puts money into them, they help finance them, they market them, but the
Mhm.
creative is still coming from Kevin Feige and Disney. And then you have the influence from the MCU. You know, Hulk.
Well, when you have the
Spoiler,
Marvel
but
characters, yeah, there it is. When you have Marvel characters intertwining
right.
in the storyline and it just seems well written and it just seems
Mm-hmm.
right. Like nobody's seen. I mean, we know the Black Widow was going to be in there. That cameo was good for the part of the movie. So a lot of actors are like, "Oh, I'm not fucking happy that I'm getting give me 1 minute in fucking Spider-Man as a guy eating a hot dog on a corner of fucking New York." And I'm like, oh, hey, you want ketchup or relish? Boom. You got your lines. You're making your fucking money. You're always in one of those, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they had, the Scorpion, and that had it. He didn't have a lot of time, but the time that he had was probably pretty good in the base of the movie concept because nobody knew how this movie was going to go.
Right.
They were throwing villains out like Negative Man and all this stuff, and
Yeah.
it's just nobody knew. Like we said,
So
Tombstone, we thought it was going to be bigger, and it wasn't.
right. Before we go into spoiler territory, for anybody that wants to cut out,
Jump
what
off
do you rank it? Where do you rank it amongst other MCU movies or superhero movies? I have, I'm excited to get into this. I have some strong thoughts.
Well, I think the dynamics, because if you went and watched Punisher Last Kill, the Punisher character evolved from what he did on that 45-minute presentation to what he evolved now. I've never seen the dynamic team up of Marvel characters, the Spider-Man Frank Castle fucking team up. That's the number one team up, I believe, in any Marvel thing that I've ever seen. Just the dynamics of those two characters together was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you agree or disagree or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I saw this last Friday, so I'm almost a week out from where I saw it.
Me too. So it's hard to. I'm trying to remember stuff, and I'm an old man.
But for what I felt when I left and what I still feel a week ago, I don't think I have a recency bias. I think my excitement and my adrenaline has come down. I think this is one of the best superhero movies ever made. I think it's the best Spider-Man movie of all time. I think it's absolutely top 5 MCU, potentially top 5 of the genre alone.
Well, before the Doc Strange with the 3 Spider-Mans, I thought was the best Spider-Man movie of all time based on the story concept and the emotional ending to that movie. But I think this one, this Brand New Day, is the best Spider-Man movie ever, of just based on how interwoven the storyline, the characters, the cameos, the involving, we haven't even talked about this person yet, into the MCU the way they did, because I mean Sadie Sink as Jean Grey was fucking phenomenal. I believe
I should give it a spoiler warning there.
Oh, sorry. Well, you know what? It's been, but nobody knew what character she was playing. There was different characters that she was going to play in this movie from different characters from recent Spider-Man history, but they got it right. Like, and I like her character. I like her. She seems like she was the better actress on Stranger Things than fucking what's her name, Millie Brown.
Yeah.
And it just seems that Jean Grey, I mean, she had, but we didn't know the purpose that she had. And, at the time that we didn't know what was going on. I didn't know how they were going to interact her and get her woven in there. And they did. And they had that little backstory around that we'll get back later on here. But I thought she did a great job. I thought that character going forward now will be something, because she's young enough, she's good enough, and she's powerful. She's fucking so powerful.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd say at this point, let's just go full on spoilers.
Let's go right on.
Haven't seen it, pause, come back after you've seen it. The rest of the talk, we're not going to hold back. There's a lot of things to go over. There's, even one of my big concerns was how much of the movie they showed in marketing, and I did stay away from some of it, so I didn't, intake every bit of marketing out there. But spoilers. So everybody out, there's so much of this movie that I didn't see coming. Like you said, Yelena Belova showing up, small role, but it landed. It added value to the movie. Then you have another tie-in to the MCU at large. Sadie Sink as Jean Grey was amazing. The Hulk, we knew he was going to be there. The best.
But we never thought that we'd have Jean fucking doing her fucking mind fucking games
Right.
and the mind fucking games and having her power take over people like that before, because in all incarnations of Jean Grey in those old X-Men movies, you didn't see that fucking power. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like it
And
was something different, you know?
she was rumored to be playing Jean Grey just because of her look. That was immediately people went to that,
Sure,
and they,
sure.
we know X-Men's coming. So I assumed that was the deal. I didn't have it officially spoiled for me or anything, and from a little bit of the marketing, and then as we're watching the movie, and she's jumping from person to person, uh, and then they have her. You see her in the hood, but you don't know who she is yet. I
Right.
just went through this huge experience where the entire world thought that Elliot Page was playing Achilles when they didn't. So I don't know what to believe anymore going into movies. I never know what's
Right.
true or what isn't. And
Right.
I wasn't sure, because to me, same thing as you said, Bubba, that power set didn't make me think of Jean Grey. I mean, yes, she can get into your head, things like that. But I loved how they did it. I
Mhm.
thought the way it visually was represented was so great. There's a Denzel Washington movie from 1998 called Fallen that I love that has John Goodman in it also. And it's about a demon that, can jump from body to body just by touch. And there's scenes that are so similar that just it made me think of that movie. And I love the visual storytelling of how she would jump from person to person. But I did in the movie, I'm like, if this is Jean Grey, she has a whole different power skill set than what we're seeing. Then the reveal happens that she's Jean Grey, and you see the stuff with her sister and all that, and that was great. And then,
I didn't see that coming. I didn't
yeah,
see the sister part coming,
right,
because when they did the tank, the scene with the tank, and he's trying to stop it and doing this, and people were jumping from people to people and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden you see Frank Castle in the fucking battle van,
yeah,
and that dynamics between him and Spider-Man is just, I was like, holy fuck, and he had that raw grittiness, and he was trying to swear, and then fucking Spidey webs his fucking mouth. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because they have to do that because it can't get R-rated, because he can only say that whatever, and then
hmm,
just the interaction of those two, he's like, get out of my way, I'm gonna deal with it. Just come on, you know,
yeah,
and they have a history
hmm,
just like Black Widow and Hawkeye,
yeah,
that we don't know what happened, and maybe we never will know, but they're always going to talk about that, that incident, and that's what they're always talking about. So, and then just having Frank Castle do that, come right in, was huge.
hmm,
And there's Damage Control, because Damage Control in the comic book, as we know, was a stuff that just cleaned up, stuff that happened between
right.
superheroes and
And that was
supervillains.
their introduction in the MCU, and um, we saw them in Homecoming. They've actually been present in almost all the Spider-Man movies.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that was a good thread. I like that we came back to them. I can't remember the actor's name, um, but he's kind of the lead antagonist.
Minor. He had one issue in the comic books. The character from the movie had one issue in the comic books, and he was a anti mutant, and it was a
Okay,
bad. So he only had one issue.
I don't know the actor's name, but
I don't
he's in the
either.
TV show Severance, and he's fantastic in that show. Um,
But now he's gonna be the mutant um catalyst to go after the mutants.
right,
That's coming later on down the road.
right. Um, and they balanced this movie so well. I think it's what 2.5 hours, almost 2.5 hours.
I thought it was
Didn't
like
feel like it.
it was action. It was story driven action when it needed to be.
Yes, and the way they continued the plot and the storyline of him, MJ, everybody forgetting his identity uh, from No Way Home, I thought was done masterfully. That's actually maybe my favorite part of the movie and why the movie resonated with me so much. We thought, well, let me back up. they don't know who Peter Parker is. He's staying away from them to protect them.
He bought the flowers for Aunt May because he goes to the memorial of Aunt May and drops the flowers off, kisses the tombstone, and goes on about his business.
Right. And they almost have him kind of what you think of with Batman a lot of times, how he's depicted, where Batman is the real Bruce Wayne, his mask, his real identity is Batman. Bruce Wayne is the mask. That's almost what they had here with Spider-Man, where that's all he does now, because he doesn't have any personal relationships. He's not
doing a fucking job. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. Like, he was just fighting crime the whole time.
Right.
What the fuck,
the theory that I latched onto, or just the idea, not really a theory, right when No Way Home was over, that I think is even more solidified now, is you can look at that original trilogy as one big origin story, more or less. He loses May. He's on his own when the movie ends. He's in that shitty apartment with just a police scanner, and he makes his new suit that's inspired off of the other two Spider-Man variants he met. And it's like, he's out of high school now. It kind of reminds me of the McFarlane era of Spider-Man, where they finally let him grow up in the 80s and 90s. Right. And you have him as an adult, and he's dealing with adult problems. I thought Tom Holland nailed it. I was curious, now that he's not playing a teenager, because it's so easy to...
He's playing like a sophomore, junior in college. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That to me...
It's not in college either, though.
Right. He's not in college.
Right, yeah. But, he's out in the real world now, and it's so easy to make a compelling character. Like when he was teenage Spider-Man, he could just win you over because, he's the underdog, he's young, you feel for him. And this was his first movie where he's just standing on his own 2 feet as an adult. He still wins you over. I wasn't really impressed with Tom Holland in the Odyssey. He hasn't really impressed me in too many other things I've seen.
Spider-Man is gonna be his defining role for the rest of his life. And sometimes actors can't handle that. I can handle being Bubba the rest of my fucking life if you're paying me fucking $5 million a movie. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? But also too, we got to the storyline where he was, his emotions. And they didn't do this because people thought they were going to do the Man Spider, and that and I thank God they didn't do that, because I thought that would have been fucking cheesy, because
it would have.
And the animated stuff would have been different, but this is not. He didn't need to turn into the Man Spider.
No, I thought we were maybe going to get like a nightmare sequence at one point where he was
mutating. So too. Yep.
Then he woke up, but I'm glad they didn't do it. Either way, but
they got it cheaper because you could tell the shit was happening when his eyes went black.
Right.
So that was a cheaper special effects than having him fucking have 6 fucking arms.
Right.
And fucking, you know what I mean?
Big mandibles.
We knew that was coming, and it was about the emotion of MJ and all this stuff, and just bringing stuff on that gave him the organic. I'm not into the organic.
I'm not either. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
But also, too, in the storylines of either comic books or movies, the Spider-Man fucking web cartridges, sometimes they go out and you need it at a special time, and you're like, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? That's the dynamics of that to the organic. Yes. I'm just not into that.
I'm not either. But that's the quality or the level of the movie, is that even though, there's creative choices I didn't love or wasn't on board with, it didn't ruin the movie for me at all. But what they've done with this mutation and everything coming out on the other side, Spider-Man is not nerfed anymore. And as a long time, if you followed the comics forever, Spider-Man is impossibly strong. And we've seen that a little bit in the movies with him catching, different heavy equipment and stuff. But, there's a really good storyline, Superior Spider-Man, where Otto Octavius swapped minds with Spider-Man and took over. And he found out that Spider-Man had been pulling his punches for 60 years. Because if he ever truly let go, he could almost kill somebody with just a punch. And that's the Spider-Man we have now. He went through this mutation. You know, he's shattering katanas with just his webs. We have totally unnerfed Spider-Man at the height of his powers.
Yes,
So,
because when he turned into, you know, he had that you know, his eyes went black. The Scorpion showed up because the Scorpion was possessed by Jean Grey. And it seems like him and the Scorpion have been fighting these endless, continuous battles where Spidey just beats him, throws him back in jail, he escapes, and they just keep fighting each other. That's
perfect
fine.
comic book, yes.
Yes, that's how it is.
Right.
And that actor got to be, you know, he had some issues or something happened, and I liked him in Better Call Saul and stuff like that. And that just got him stuff from the first movie, because Michael Keaton is the Vulture. I don't think we're ever going to see again. So,
No.
you know, and then they just dropped the ball on that. And you've seen how when Spider-Man would let go, what he could do, because he almost killed somebody. And, you know, Officer Jean DeWolf, which is a major character in the Spider-Man comics, and they bring that in, you know, and that dynamic that those two had, because, you know, he's talking to her on the phone, you know, because he doesn't have anybody. That's the only person that he has is DeWolf. That's the only person that he could talk to about anything.
Right.
Is Captain DeWolf. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the scenes with him and, well, okay, the scene with him and MJ when it was secretly Jean Grey in MJ's head was brutal. That was brutal. And I loved it because I was actually questioning the scene. I was like, she's going to remember him because they kissed, you know? But I didn't think of Jean Grey being in her head because it was played and written and acted so well. Yep. I just was like, oh, they're just kind of doing the Snow White or the Sleeping Beauty bullshit, I guess. But I still was into it because I cared about the characters. And then the reveal that it was Jean Grey the whole time, that just felt like such a gut punch, you know?
Yeah. I was like, oh, man.
Seeing them rekindle, because I love them. I think that dynamic is amazing. I think, you know, obviously they have real life chemistry. They're married or close to being married. They have on-screen chemistry. So I really like their dynamic.
But you can see it. You can see it on the screen.
Yes.
You can see that chemistry, how he feels for her or how he looks at her on the screen.
And it was very well done and very emotional at the end of No Way Home when he told her, you're going to forget who I am, but I have to do this to save the world. And then he has this plan, and then you see that he's not going to go through with it. I thought that that's, you know, one of the best emotional angles in probably the whole MCU. So this one comes in, and my fear was they were going to do the same thing they did with Star-Lord and Gamora at the end of Guardians Volume 3, where it's a different universe as Gamora, and she says, you know, your Gamora loves you, but I don't have that. And then they just go separate ways. Because that was such a bummer, too. And I that makes sense. That writing makes sense. I get that. But I was scared that was going to happen, and we don't have that. They're not back together, but you could see that there's a potential for them to work back to each other. So,
and even in the comic books, they fucking work around, and he has other love interests.
Right.
And there's other love interests is coming. Like there's so many small, minute details, you know, after when you watch these movies that I have to go and watch videos. You know, I'm not a person, even though I love Marvel comics and stuff, I'm not into the newer type Spider-Man characters like Silk. Like, that's not me. But she was there in the fucking
Sydney Moon.
Yes. Like, so they're dropping some shit out there. You know, even when that girl in the you know, hallway of the apartments and he took her clothes and shit, you know, people were like, "Oh, that's Felicia Hardy." No, it's not. But we don't know. I don't fucking know. It could be. I mean, what the fuck do I know? It's a blonde. The smoking blonde.
Speculate that it's Gwen.
Yeah.
And you know, along that same plot line, when him and Ned finally hang out for the first time, but he does it as Spider-Man, and they're building Legos just like they used to do. You know, they have that chemistry, and
Never, ever, ever, ever put him as Hobgoblin. That
He'll
should never.
never pull that off. He
That'll
pulls
never
off
fucking
guy in the
happen.
chair, best friend, all
Yes.
that stuff, but he would never pull off Hobgoblin.
No. And I hope they never do that storyline, and I don't want to ever see that
Right.
because he's not that guy. He is his his like moral friend conscience. You know what I mean? Like without Ned, Parker's not fully. It's not. He needs his buddy. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right, and it's the movie universe is hairy in a sense, also.
Very hairy, very hairy. Yes.
So,
do you think he remembered? Okay, but because he had that little mystical, because he was, Doc, he could fucking do stuff magical. That was always in Ned. That's why a little bit later on, he fucking he remembered him a little bit more because of the muscle memory of the handshake. Fucking
yeah, it's interesting that he remembers a little bit of, from doing the handshake, the muscle memory comes back, but MJ has no memory. So, I'm not sure, but it just left me excited and wanting more.
Well, the thing is though, when he went to their apartment and he had that fucking party, they had the party and he fucking brought flowers and it's like a homecoming and he fucking made up a name and shit. And her boyfriend was the fucking dude was fucking Bridger from fucking goddamn Ahsoka. Didn't even have a fucking line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, didn't even have a fucking line. He's in that movie. He's a fucking big character and actor in Star Wars, and he never had a fucking line in the Marvel movie. All he did was kiss fucking. That was it. And I think they had a drink. He might have said something, but it was nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like, wow, to have actors like that just for that kind of little bit of a fucking role. Like, what the fuck, man?
Did you stick around for the post-credit scene?
Cable. Cable. What kind of question's that?
You're right.
But I know, and we'll get into that after we get into the talk. How Jean, what she did to the fucking Hulk, and it was fucking. That's how they did it, and the Hulk looked like so massive, like fucking massive. And I'm not a big Mark Ruffalo fan when it comes to the Hulk.
Right.
I'm not. And I heard that that's his Doomsday might be his last one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing. But I thought Mark Ruffalo played a good Banner in this movie, and he did the Hulk great. And that's the way the Hulk should be. But I never thought that would be because of Jean Grey getting in his mind and him fucking cracking. And she couldn't contain him.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was done amazing. I always liked Ruffalo as Banner. And the Hulk is fine when they let him be the Hulk. I don't know that's Ruffalo's issue.
They can't. I've watched stuff where they can't let the MCU, Feige cannot let the Hulk be the Hulk because nobody could fucking beat him in the storylines. What would truly happen? You know what I mean? They can't have that. So that's why he turned into a fucking pussy in fucking the Infinity War, and Thanos beat him that I almost fucking threw up. Shit like that. Like, that's why they did that, and I understand, but I don't like it, and I don't have to agree with it, because you can make the Hulk the strongest there is, have these superheroes band together to take him out, beat him in a mental game, because the Savage Hulk is not the smartest Hulk, and there's a difference. But, I mean, seeing fucking Frank Castle fucking lighting up the Hulk, and it's like fucking BBs fucking bouncing off his chest. And Spider-Man, that was awesome.
It's like going back, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago, to where we're seeing things like Infinity War and Civil War, and you're seeing stuff in live action that you never thought you would see. And I thought those days were on. And I literally I remember sitting, I had a big smile on my face, so did my son, watching Frank Castle try to shoot the Hulk in live action.
And he's fucking trying. He's trying. He's fucking trying, but it's like, it ain't working.
Yeah.
He was like, holy shit. And then him and Spider-Man tagging up and trying to do that, which you would never would have saw. You never would have saw that in anywhere besides this. They got that down perfectly, and
Mm-hmm.
to see that, like, see that scene, that fight scene, which to me is one of the best fight scenes in Marvel in a long, long time, especially the tag up between those two against the Hulk, because Frank Castle doesn't have anything. He doesn't have nothing but just being Frank Castle to go against, and that's the first time they ever meet each other. And it's just it was fucking, it was fucking
Yeah.
great. Like, John Berthenol is fucking the Punisher, but also too, John Berthenol is a great actor, and he's been in a lot of roles, and he's very dynamic. And him and Tom Holland are good friends, so you've seen
Mm-hmm.
that dynamic too, because they actually practice for each other's parts. When
So,
they did that.
yeah, and it was funny at my showing. Our theater was right next to Waterfront's IMAX theater
Yeah.
room, and at a quiet point in the movie, The Odyssey was playing, and you
Oh
heard
Jesus,
Matt Damon
Berthenol.
screaming during the movie. But it's funny because you got Zendaya, John Bernthal, Tom Holland in two of the biggest movies of the year, because all three of them were in an Odyssey also.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's out the same fucking like it's out like 2 weeks apart. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ, I can't get a job fucking where I can make that much money doing good shit one time, and now you're doing
Yeah.
good shit twice. But that fight scene was great, and then the dynamics of Jean Grey doing that, and then
Mm-hmm.
just going from and then she gets into Frank's mind,
Mm-hmm.
and it was done perfectly, and it
I
just
love, yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I love what they did with Jean Grey. I love how they handled that character, where they ended it. There's a lot of discourse online right now that,
The things motherfuckers, man.
yeah,
I just sit in my house. I just sit in my house, and these fucking podcasters fucking do this and that, and they get these million fucking views of this and that, and they go off and they're fucking bitching about, oh, this doesn't done right. But you know what? I remember Spider-Man on a 1970s fucking movie, and
right.
all as he was fighting was
Everybody
fucking
was
bank
spoiled.
robbers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but is Jean Grey? Did she do enough to be redeemed by the end of the movie? That's not the point. Um, where we're headed, I thought it was amazing because it shows you why people are going to be scared of mutants. As more mutants start popping up in the MCU,
That hysteria, is always bad. It's all bad in the
right?
printed
That's
form.
uh huh.
It's bad. It's bad in real life now. Racism is a fucking people are just not
I mean, that's what
fucking
the X Men
good.
always were. They were always
Yes.
an allegory for racism and homophobia and all that
But
stuff.
in one movie with Jean Grey with Sadie Sink, the fucking Frankie Johansson fucking Jean Grey is to me is a pimple on fucking my
Oh,
ass.
yeah.
Like, it's just she's she's not that good, because Jean Grey shouldn't have been that old anyway at that time when they first got developed. She is right now the perfect age, because she was Charles Xavier's first student.
Yeah,
And the backstory about why she was doing what she was doing, because people are like, oh, she's the villain. She had a purpose, because who wouldn't fucking redeem and have revenge against? And then they had
absolutely.
this,
So she's
and
understandable
Mhm.
100%. But at the same time, you also understand why everybody's going to be scared of mutants, because they possess this power, which
Right.
is the tale as old as time regarding mutants. Is why everybody's scared to death of mutants, and they're going to be more and more dangerous. You know, she's not a villain. She
No.
did bad things,
But the villain is the damage control, because that's
right?
corporation, and that's the
But
villain of the movie.
eventually are going to get villains that are mutants that are powerful too. So I think they're laying the groundwork for a fantastic plot thread of humans and potentially other heroes being terrified of mutants as they start to become public characters in the MCU. And I'm here for it. I love it. I can't wait to see how it continues, as long as they keep going in that direction. So I think they did amazing with that character.
Mhm. I
Because
think
when
she's great. I think she's great doing what she does.
uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Hey, Daniel, how you doing? I mean, it's just she out of everybody in that Stranger Things, now you got fucking she's now in the MCU. You got
Mhm.
Harbor in the MCU, and there's another the third one. Who's the third one out of
Human
that?
Torch, Eddie.
Oh, yes, yes, yeah.
Hmm.
And he's
I
not
mean,
even getting
you
defined
all
as a
encompass
main
it at
actor.
some point. It's going to be hard to find actors that haven't been in the MCU, but they did
Right.
cast Cyclops today. They made that casting official.
I have
Uh,
no clue who he is. He's a young.
I,
I have no idea.
I like that, honestly. I like them,
Yes.
casting unknowns uh, and letting them give it a shot. I think that's a better route than putting well-known people in there. I mean, maybe
Yes.
well-known names put butts in seats potentially, but let.
Good storylines, and well written shit,
Mhm.
and the believability of the characters will fucking sell you tickets. You know what I
And
mean?
honestly, I mean, we'll see how Marvel handles all this. And we're definitely not at the height, I don't think, anymore of the superhero genre. That was Endgame era. Uh, I think there is fatigue and things have calmed down
I
a bit.
I understand where you're coming from, but I think Doomsday and Secret Wars is going to be
Well,
it's going to
it's
be
going to be,
overload. It's going to
but
be overload, and it's going to be like you're going to get rock hard. Rock hard seeing all this stuff because you're going to see stuff that you never thought you'd ever see in the Fox stuff to the MCU, and then they're going to hopefully they do it right because we can argue or whatever, but you know what? It's we never 25 years ago we would have fucking had this. 10 years
right.
ago we never would have had this. That's the
That's where
thing.
where I'm headed with this thought is if they nurture this right and they handle it well and they tell good stories and they get the public interest, Disney's MCU X-Men might outdo anything we've seen. Once the ball's rolling and all these characters are known and you have an MCU Wolverine, and if he's well liked and he's handled right,
Right.
X-Men, just like Spider-Man, they ruled the comic book world from
Mhm.
the 80s, 90s, early 2000s.
Yes.
Uh,
I
the
agree.
Avengers were a B-list team after the 70s.
I
They
always loved the Avengers first over the X-Men. I collected them both,
right.
but also too, I mean, and I'm going to be honest with you, the Avengers, the three top Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. But with the
Mhm.
Avengers, I've always liked other teams that didn't have the West Coast Avengers. To me, is one of the greatest teams of all time. But we'll
Right.
never see that in a movie, and that's
Maybe
led to
probably not.
Hawkeye.
Right.
Yeah,
But
but that
if they do it right, the sky's the limit, because you have people from my generation that grew up on the X-Men as the powerhouse. X-Men, Spider-Man, and Batman ruled my childhood. The 80s, the 70s with Chris Claremont, and all of those storylines. So if you have as much,
Claremont is still writing X-Men storylines.
yeah, right.
Right now, I think in September or whatever, they have a 4-part miniseries, X-Men versus Aliens. Like
Oh,
that's what
shit.
they're doing because they
Yeah.
fucking combined both fucking all these franchises now in the
Mhm.
comic book form, like Predator versus Wolverine, comic book, I have them. You know what I mean? Like shit you'd have never fucking saw before, and even in the concept of characters of the X-Men. Like one of the greatest X-Men characters I believe of all time was Thunderbird, and he never got his just due, and then he got killed in 2 fucking issues. And maybe that will come into and be a better, I know he was in the other movie at one time in a brief thing, but there's so many mutants that you could put on
Mhm.
the roster, and like Juggernaut in the comic book now is an X-Men. Who would have
Yeah,
ever thought that? Like,
right.
so there's a lot of characters, but they got it where, Jean Grey, Sadie Sink, when you that is the first pebble into the fucking pond to build a dam. And then you said about this Cyclops actor who's playing him. That I don't know. They did Emma Frost,
Mhm.
and it all depends on what team they got. Look, we're not going to get the fucking you're not going to get Hugh Jackman on this team.
No,
It ain't happening.
no.
It ain't happening.
When Secret Wars is over, I think he's done.
Yeah.
I think the majority of the Fox characters that are, in the trailer and stuff, I think they don't even make it out of Doomsday. To be honest with you, we see the end of their universe, and that's fine. That time has come and gone. They
Yes.
served their purpose 20 years ago. They put superhero movies on the map with the first X-Men movie in 2000, and now it's time to start over. And I really think the sky's the limit with Disney and MCU doing X-Men, and we'll see.
Well, it's going to be rough. He can only play Deadpool so long, and he and that. Well, I'm going to get to the spoiler at the end of the credit, before we wrap this up because we're so close. Because I just felt like bringing Melissa Tomei into that movie in a flashback and in a realism of a fucking getting put in to help Parker, and then Peter gave her to Jean, and then she talked to Jean, gave her some kind of humanity, and those characters, Jean Grey and Peter Parker, they don't have anybody, and they came together because they had a couple times in the comic books where they tagged up and stuff a little bit here and there, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
they actually, that was a good scene. I didn't know, and I didn't know what the fucking VMAX was. I didn't know. I thought it was a fucking
Yeah.
some kind of fucking code for mutants or something.
Mm-hmm.
All it was the fucking air conditioner. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like what the fuck?
Yeah. And that was
Yeah.
great. That was fantastic. What the reveal was on that. But yeah, I have so much goodwill towards the MCU right now. Like you said, going into Brand New Day, for me, in my mind, it was already overshadowed by Doomsday. Brand New Day was an afterthought to me until I saw it, and then it
Well,
just
people were jumping in the car before they opened the door. So I was like, you gotta, they were already going doomsday, doomsday,
Mhm.
doomsday. But I'm like, okay, fuckers, we got Spider-Man right here. Spider-Man and Batman are the two of the greatest fucking comic book characters of all time.
Mhm.
To me, Hulk's in there too because I like the Hulk character. But those two have generated more money in comic book out of a comic book form on any some forms of mass production of any characters forever in the world.
Yeah.
I think those two characters make more than I think Superman's probably just a notch below him. But to me, I think Batman and Spider Man are the one who merchandise the most, that make the most money. This movie was something, and then at the end, when good old Frank fucking set that, her powers got fucking more emotional. She got her more powerful. Like she wasn't going jumping from people from 30 feet. She took over the whole fucking, like
Mhm.
all those people. So it encompassed because she got angry because they fucking killed her sister. So really, then we realized that damage control is not the damage control that we thought of cleaning up the stuff. They are the ones who are hunting down and killing people and trying to steal their powers. And we didn't even talk about this because the X-Men and the mutants are not going to like fucking Parker and Spider-Man because he made that inhibitor, and they
Mhm.
fucking guaranteed that damage control is going to make that so they can try to control mutants
Mhm.
based on Parker fucking doing that, which he did not know, but he needed it at the time to put it on
Right.
himself, and he needed to put it on the Hulk, and then and then he had to put it on Jean Grey because he was trying to correct the problem, and that problem is going to get bigger and bigger because you're going to see Spider-Man and probably some kind of X-Men stuff, which is going to be good too because he already has that thing with Jean Grey, and they started that off with damage control and the inhibitor and stuff like that. That's going to be a huge thing because if my I like to bet because I think Sinister is going to take that inhibitor and he's going to fucking
Mhm.
that's later on. I believe that whoever's going to play him, if it's Driver or whoever, I don't know. And I think that's going to be a concept because I think when you have the villains coming into the MCU with the mutants and the X-Men, they have to be actors that already are a little bit established. Not so much the X-Men, I would say the villains have to be established actors that we know.
Yeah, possibly. It depends which characters you're going for and everything like that
Right.
too. And
Right.
I heard um, Indy Navarrete, the main actress from Obsession, is campaigning to play Mystique.
Well,
And
she can change. She can change. I mean, Jesus
yeah, of
fucking
course,
Christ.
she can change without any effects.
She has no. She had no fucking special effects, and she changed. I mean, when she fucking stood there in the fucking doorway, pissing her pants, and I'm like, "Oh, hi, honey," and I'm like that. And I heard that movie's going to be a trilogy or some fucking thing. I heard.
The latest update I heard was they were talking about possibly getting more into the One Wish Willow lore.
Yeah,
She wouldn't
Tammy
be
had to,
returning.
Tammy had to get the fuck out of the room and fucking. She's like,
Yeah.
"This is some bad shit." She goes, "This is bad." She had to go and she got a fucking a crystal. She goes, they're talking about stuff that's fucking bad juju. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I go, that poor motherfucker. I go, he's the fucking one. I go, he's such a, he was like, oh, and it reminds me of fucking people that I know every day that fucking wish that they had somebody to love them and they fucking, it's like, it's sickening. But
Yeah.
anyway, she would play a great fucking, she'd play a great,
Anything. Like, yeah.
yeah. But,
Yeah.
but at the end, everything come about, and Hulk got taken away, later on, and we'll figure out where he's gonna he'll be back. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
Frank fucking, taking a shot, trying to fucking put down like the Punisher had to fucking do what the Punisher does, and
Mhm.
and Spidey fucking taking the bullet for Jean Grey, and then you had the iconic fucking scene, comic book scene, the fucking movie scene of Castle carrying fucking Parker in his hands,
Mhm.
and getting him to the hospital. A lot of comic scenes, a lot of comic book covers, because when he was on the building with his fucking high powered rifle, that's a scene from fucking the first appearance of the fucking 129, and that comic book is just going to jack the fuck up. Nobody
Oh,
can afford it.
yeah, it
You
was
know what
already
I mean?
up there, but now.
No, yeah, I mean, I have to fucking mortgage my house, and it ain't fucking happening. But also too to see the dynamics, and then Berthanol fucking, putting it out there. He doesn't take power naps and fucking doesn't nap, and then he naps in the fucking movie. You know what I
Right.
mean? He's like, I ain't napping. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that was pretty cool. And then he got fucking, he got Parker out of there, playing Spider Man. So you didn't see. Nobody saw that fucking dynamic because they thought fucking Castle and fucking Matt Murdock, that dynamic. You never saw
I
Parker
thought I
and
did
fucking
not expect Daredevil not to show up. I thought he was confirmed for this movie.
no, I don't think he did. And we didn't even get into the hand fucking, damage control with the hand and the fucking fight scene and
Mhm.
damage control. That was all Jackie Chan's fucking stunt fucking company. Jackie Chan came to the site and all his fucking people were the
Oh,
fucking
I didn't
fighters
know
with the
that.
hand. Yeah, and that was some good fucking fighting fucking
Oh,
between
for
Spider-Man
sure.
and the hand. And
Yeah.
also it was just that you added the whole thing. Like this movie was, and you got back to you saying about the movie, I think that the homecoming one with Doc Strange and the Sinister Six, that set up a premise for this. But I think this movie, based on the street level, because small potatoes,
Mhm.
Parker's dealing with small potatoes, because the bigger picture, and that's what happens. They put the little pebble before doomsday. And I think, you know what I mean, and just everything is going to be and it's just that they're interwoven. All the stories and all the characters are interwoven in this more MCU universe is good.
Oh, for
Like,
sure. Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
I think they're back. I think it's safe to say they're back. So,
fucking $1 billion in 4 days. What's that?
what's your final grade for it?
Oh, an A+.
Yeah.
I wasn't emotional. I thought it was. I liked to see the concept. I knew what stuff was doing. Like when Jean Grey was getting on the bus going up north. I know where she was going. She was going to fucking. She was going to see Xavier. That's where she was going. I knew that. I told Tammy. I go, Tam. She was on the bus. She was going. That's where she was going. because Charles probably fucking sent her a fucking message to come up to the mansion, and that we didn't see it, but we can know as we know that's probably what happened. And at the end, of MJ and Parker not being, I mean, he's still there, you know what I mean? They're all still whatever. We don't know what's going to happen, but they came a long way. A lot of comic book villains got their 10-second due. Like a lot of iconic covers probably got jacked in price. Tombstone is in jail, but maybe I think they could still do something with him. All these villains come out of jail anyway, so it doesn't really fucking matter.
Yeah,
as long as they're not dying, which is good. So the recurring, you'll probably see the Scorpion again, because that could be a returning gag all the time, and Spider-Man beats him and sends him back to jail, which is fucking, he keeps trying because that's what he does in the comic book.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of my biggest pet peeves with the MCU is they took every villain, they either killed them off or made them an anti-hero. And I don't, I don't like that.
So I thought I give it a 4-star. I would like to see it in a better movie theater than Indiana, but that day I just wanted to get close, and it was packed. I mean, Thursday night, it was fucking packed.
Yeah, mine was too.
I waited at the end because you're like, oh, Bob, did you stay for the end credit? And I'm like, yeah. No, it was waiting, and it could. It was under for me, undervalued. But when you walked away from it, it was overvalued, because now I understand the concept. When they have the Ned has that Spidey tracker, and that was good. They didn't have to fucking spend a lot of money. They didn't have, but also too that set up Secret World right there and then, because you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, you don't know what Spider-Man is in the fucking on the tracker. Right. You don't know, and that's the thing, because in Secret Wars, there was a few in the Hickman run, there was a couple after this Doomsday fucking destroy everybody. There's a selected few of superheroes that are put her on a fucking spaceship, and that's where he's at. Spider-Man, whatever Spider-Man it is on that spaceship after fucking Doomsday, or there before, or whatever, because we don't know how long that fucking gap was from the fucking, because it could have ended. Jean Grey could have went up to New York to the mansion, and right there and then Doom could have fucking did his shit right there and then, right there after that. We don't know how quick it was, So what did you think of that?
The movie itself, or the
movie itself, the movie itself, and the post-credit scenes.
Yeah, movie itself, A plus. Like I said, I think it's one of the best superhero movies ever made. It would.
So what did it take out in your top? Because your top movie of all time, superhero is isn't it Dark
Knight?
Yeah. Where's it rank with that?
Dark Knight still, I think, is the best superhero movie ever made.
Is it like a 1A?
I'd have to really break it down, but it's. I know it's for sure top 5 of all time, maybe top 3.
Do you think that's the best? Do you think The Brand New Day is the best Spider-Man movie ever?
By a mile.
Okay, I agree.
By a long shot.
Now let me ask you a question. It was due to the storyline, all the great cameos that actually served a purpose, and then just the way they had the visual effects of Spider-Man being Spider-Man, and just adding a small little bit of minute stuff. Because look, they can't have fucking Kingpin, but you know what? They had the Kingpin on a fucking
yeah.
They can't do that. It's just.
It's a combination of everything, But even without the cameos, if there was a way to make the story work without the characters they had in them, my biggest takeaway was Peter, what he went through in this movie, his transformation, his mutation, him maturing as a character, growing, and his relationship and status with MJ and Ned. I thought that was the heart of the movie. That was, for me, that was the most important part of the movie, the part that landed the most. Everything else was icing on top of the cake. I loved every bit of it. I love the action. I love the effects. I love the characters, the cameos. there's so much to enjoy. So I could take my pick, but it was the story and the characters at the end of the day that was what I thought made it such a good movie.
And what did you think about the end credit?
Yeah, I still say it's underwhelming. I mean, I know the ramifications of it. I know, what they're hinting at, and that's major.
We're going to see this. We're going to see the. We're going to see. We're going to see the suit. We're going to see the symbiote suit.
I hope so. We should. Yes. But they used to do 2 post-credit scenes, a mid-credit and a post-credit. And the mid-credit always had a little bit more meat on the bone. That one was always more substantial towards future plots and stuff. And then the one at the very end of the credits was always something like that, where it was just a little small thing that almost wasn't even worth sitting through the credits, but you already sat through half of them to get something. So I thought that was a little disappointing that they didn't have 2, with one of them being a stronger post-credit scene. But it is what it is. It's not a huge
I thought they were gonna have Doom do something.
I thought we would get a peek at something else to do with the MCU, but that's just a minor gripe, not a huge deal.
Yeah. So, and we haven't done one of these in a long time, and you can tell like we were very, very vested in this because we wanted to do that after everybody saw them. And like I said, Shane said thumbs up last night on the other podcast, and he's on vacation. I can't expect him to do podcasts every night. Craig's like, I don't think that'll ever. I would love to see that happen of Alpha Flight, but I don't know. Maybe an appearance in X-Men movie, maybe. But they are not going to now with Disney Plus not doing any live action shows. That will never ever happen, I don't think, unless it's a brief cameo appearance in a movie. I hope they do because I have the first appearance, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, I was loving it. It's good. There's a lot of stuff going on, and now we just got to wait till December. I mean, there's some other movies here and there. I'll go see Godzilla. Somebody said, I think Devil said something about Godzilla. It's like 2 hours and some. Yeah, the hot dog. We get the hot dog. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it was good. I'm impressed. I mean, I just have to wait and see. I mean, X-Men 97, I'm going to go watch that here, after I get out, because I missed it the other day. Tuesday, I didn't watch it, so I don't like to be behind.
A little underwhelming this season, I think. I haven't watched the newest episode, but it feels like there's a lot of filler. Like, I hated the Danger Room episode. I hated the last week's episode.
The Apocalypse stuff was good. I mean, the Apocalypse stuff was good.
Good, and I loved the Wolverine episode with Omega Red and Sabretooth.
Yes.
That was good.
But I think also, too, they need more than 10 episodes. I mean, you need like 20 episodes. You could fill out a good arc of like 4 episodes to, incorporate like the X-Force and stuff like that. I like that, and the X Factor and Parallelers. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. But it should be something. So yeah. So I don't know what next week, because next week's is fucking Steelers training preseason game against the Packers. I'm doing a lot. I'm not even watching the fucking game. I don't want to see Kenny Pickett. I was like, fuck that. But yeah, I'll let you know, and I'll let everybody know. Maybe we can do something quicker, but because we don't have, we didn't give a top 10 because Shane's not here, and I don't know whose time. Who's
my turn? It's my turn, actually.
Okay, well, let's give it, and then we can try to figure out if we want to do, if we could do it earlier or something like that next week. Like say, I don't know, say we could do 7:30. I'll ask Shane, but I'll put it in the on the YouTube channel what time we can do it. So what was yours?
Oh, I had 2.
Okay.
I came down to 2, and I was gonna, maybe leave it up to the group, but it's only you and I tonight. So let's go. We're gonna kind of stray a little bit from our typical topic here. Let's go our top 10 favorite professional wrestlers of all time.
Ooh, wrestling show. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what day and
I
time.
know what your
Because
number one is.
yeah, I know. But because the next 3 weeks, because the Steelers play every Thursday night for 3 weeks, the whole
Really?
exhibition is prime time on
Oh
in the three
shit.
weeks. Yeah. So what I could do is we can just I can go earlier. Depends on you and Shane. I can go
Mhm.
anytime after I can go
Yeah,
work out
I can
whatever.
go earlier too. That's
So,
not a
but
problem for me.
I'll just let everybody know. I'll ask Shane because I know Friday nights are bad for a couple people because pretty soon Friday nights will be Shane's boys playing football Friday nights, and then Friday nights sometimes you guys go to the movies, and then sometimes I don't know what I do Friday. Sometimes I might work Friday nights. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good one. And then yeah, top 10 wrestlers. Yeah, it's
It was either
understandable.
going to be top 10 wrestlers or top 10 favorite professional athletes.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we'll go wrestlers.
Okay. I'll tell Shane. So, Cable, thank you so much. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. It's 24-23 Panthers. I didn't even I'm not watching it. I was like, I didn't even watch it.
I forgot
I,
about it. I just put
you
it
know what
on.
I did? You know what I did last night before I get out of here? Because we're not on the time concept. I got on TikTok last night. Oh, get this. And I said it on my Steeler Dynasty podcast. Fucking Antonio Brown. I was watching his TikTok live. He had a very attractive girl in a bikini. He's doing a battle, whatever they do at TikTok or whatever the fuck they do. He's on the shitter. Okay. And he beat her in the battle. He come off the shitter and I was like, hey, I wrote him. I'm like, hey, AB, love to have you on a Steeler podcast. And he was like, hey, Triple B. He's like, yeah, man. He goes, yeah, that'd be great. He goes, I'm gonna follow you. He follows me on TikTok.
No
Swear,
shit.
swear to
Wow.
God. So I sent him a message. I'm gonna have to keep. I don't know if he was whatever.
Patriot Antonio Brown.
Okay, don't fucking yeah. I don't. But if I can get a minute with him, whatever it takes. But
Yeah.
last night I got on TikTok and I finally knew how to do TikTok. I did like TikTok live and dude, my one buddy that I used to work with, he was working third shift. He watched the whole fucking thing and he's like, "Holy fuck, Bubba, you had me fucking going." I brought people in and out of like video, like, "How high are you?" Blah
Okay.
blah blah. But the first two people I brought on were two fucking girls that were like 22 years old from California. And they were going out and they're like, and they popped on her. When you pop on, they're like, oh, I'm like, I know I'm old. I said, hey, look, I said, I'm just trying to do this. I ain't trying to do nothing. I'm happily married. And then she told me her dad was like, had an like MMA YouTube channel. And I looked it up. And then I was just getting people. I got like this girl from fucking Thailand. And I was being funny. And then I had a Pakistani dude. And then this one African American dude, he's like, "Man, you look like Ron Jeremy," and I'm like, "What?" And then I go, "That's fucking funny." And I go, "Where are you from?" He goes, "I'm from Ohio," and I'm like, "Oh, a Cleveland Browns fan." He said something, and I looked over, and they fucking moved, and the Steeler jersey behind me. He fucking clicked automatically. He clicked off. He fucking got out of there. And then this other guy come on from Colorado with a guitar and started singing fucking original fucking songs. I thought
Wow.
I was yeah, but you know
Like
what
a
happened?
Brady show.
It was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, oh my god, I got to go to work. And I went to work for like an hour sleep because I fucking took a power nap after work so I could come on, and I'm still feeling the effects because the one guy they follow you and you follow them. They're like, just keep doing what you're doing because I guess every heart in TikTok is like a penny. So every
Oh,
time
okay.
you get, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So and I was just being myself. I was talking about the Steelers, telling them about the YouTube channels, telling them about this podcast and the Dynasty one, talking whatever. And they're like, "What?" I said, "Look, man," I said, "I'm just trying to fucking do whatever. I don't know how. I don't understand it, but I'm gonna. I was try. I'm not doing it tonight because there's no fucking way. But I mean." And I just cracking jokes. I'm like, oh, you got these girls doing makeup. They got a million views and got their fucking titties hanging out. I go, this is ridiculous. I said, I'm just fucking, trying to fucking see how this is done and whatever. And I had like all these people. And then I had people that wouldn't do it, and then they'd see. I don't know what they were doing. It was just funny because it was like I'm the host, and I can pick, and then they come in, and then if they didn't like it, they delete, and then if they stick around, like I was talking to this girl from Texas, and she was singing songs and shit. So I mean, I just thought it was
Awesome.
stupid. I thought it was funny, but what do I know? That's probably my voice is fucked up
Yeah.
because Tam said your voice, but I'm taking this fucking this pill for fucking weight loss, and Tammy fucking researched it, and she said part of the drawbacks is your voice fucking something
Okay.
about your voice. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me! And I thought it was me from screaming because I do talk a little bit, but I
Yeah.
don't know. So, but yeah, on that note, I'm going to end on that note. But yeah, so yeah, you going to any movies this weekend, or there's nothing out,
Nope.
or no?
No, yeah. Staying home this weekend. Well, we might actually go see Spider Man again. But
Don't go to Indiana.
that's where we're gonna go because
Oh,
for it once. Now it could be a home game.
I know, but it just the fucking darkness of the screen. Like I totally missed fucking Boomerang in that fucking 1 second fucking, because it was there, but it's so dark, and I think the picture needs cleaned up. I don't know, and it just like I almost got in a fight because these young kids were fucking line breaking, and this lady said something to them, and they just, what, they didn't even take heed. They just kept looking. They just kept fucking moving forward. I said, hey, what the fuck do you guys think you're doing? And then Tammy's like, would you knock it off? And then some other guy's like, excuse me. And then Tammy said something to him, and I'm like, motherfucker, I'm gonna drag somebody out in the parking lot because they only had they're like, we only have 24 people, 24 more tickets. She's like, I don't think we're gonna be able to get in. And I'm like, well, we're gonna wait, we're gonna hold off, and we did. And I got good seats because I don't like to have anybody sit behind me. It's a thing with me. Like I don't want anybody sitting behind me in a movie theater. I don't know what it is. Maybe I don't know. Maybe because if I'm close to the door when somebody acts goofy, I don't know. But I mean, not in Indiana, but you never know. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I just don't. I mean, I hate to fucking bash the local movie theater, but it's just not. And I know when you go, the the reception and the screen is good because when we used to go, we all had time and we did it. The screen was
Mhm.
better. It's crystal clear, and it's just like Spider-Man right now is on my TV downstairs. Like, you know what I mean? You can't
Mhm.
let the enemy get behind you. Yeah, that's too devil. That's fucking funny. Yeah. Yeah, because I got it, and then it's like win the slot jackpot, you know what I mean? And then you
Yeah.
got Brand New Day, and then you got the
Uh-huh.
fucking I'm like, and then it's the same with Odyssey. Like
Mhm.
Odyssey came out, and I figured that V Box, I don't have it, but the Gamma TV, when a movie makes $1 billion, they don't give a fuck anymore. You know what I mean? They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, fuck it,
True.
who cares? So but
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, well, I'll let you know on what time next week because it's gonna be a busy, busy, busy week. So I mean, every week's busy, but I know the next
Mhm.
3 Thursdays. I thought they played this week, but it was the Hall of Fame game kickoff.
Right.
But then next, they play Packers, Jets, and Buffalo, all prime time games on Thursday.
Okay.
So I'm doing lives, and I'll just preempt it. Still do it. We'll just figure out a time and day, and we could do it earlier on Thursday. That's cool because man, I could talk for 8 hours now without it. I mean, I did it last night, but yeah, have
They
a great
just showed
weekend.
they just
Yeah.
showed Tomlin on the broadcast, and he's wearing a Titans jersey.
You're kidding, right?
No, it's for Y to Chris Johnson because he's got what ALS. I think they just
Oh,
diagnosed.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, I can see that. They're doing it for I can just
yeah,
like Rebel from AEW.
right.
I mean,
Yeah, at first I was like,
that's
"What the fuck?" But then I
well,
saw the
you had me.
28.
I mean, look how I mean I shut the fuck up like for a second. I was stunned. I just don't like. Is tonight's NBC?
It's on Peacock. I don't know if it's
Okay,
on actual
yeah,
TV or not. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Patriots play next Thursday also.
Well, there you go, and you'll be watching that too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Well, we'll definitely get it. We're gonna bring you on when it's Patriot time in the second week of the season.
Oh
You'll
yeah.
be you'll be all fucking gathered up with fucking jerseys. And somebody asked me the other day, hey, Mr. Brewer, what do you think about AJ Brown? I said, I don't give a fuck about AJ Brown. He ain't a fucking Steeler. Said, I don't give a fuck about anybody unless it's the Steelers or who we're playing that week. Do you understand me? Like, I don't give a fuck about any other, no offense to like, you ain't gonna give a fuck about you're caring about the
Right.
Patriots. You don't give a fuck about anybody else. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll watch football, but I'm not invested like I was when I was a kid, when everybody, like, it wasn't so, it wasn't so polluted with bullshit because every team had like cool players on a team that you wish that they were playing on your team. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Now I don't fucking, unless it's Aaron Donald. That'd be the only person I don't even know who to fuck. Maybe Josh Allen. Allen and Donald would be the only two people I'd fucking take anymore. I don't know, but yeah, if it ain't the Steelers, I don't know. Oh, I got my Aaron Rodgers jersey.
Holy
I
shit.
there it is right there.
Wow.
120 bucks, man.
Yeah.
I got it yesterday. It'll fit me a 4X. So,
I actually
but
looked at my first jersey ever. I didn't pull the trigger, but
who was it going to be? Tom
if I
Brady.
only ever get one jersey, who do you think it would be?
Tom Brady.
Wrong.
Ooh.
Julian Edelman didn't cut bait and run to the Buccaneers.
Oh,
Gronk did. Brady did.
you're
Julian
fucking
Edelman retired as a
you're
Patriot.
fucking
He's my man.
you're fucking salty.
Of course. That's another Super Bowl we could have had.
I know when James Harrison went to the fucking New England Patriots, I dropped him
Yeah.
off fucking Twitter. As soon as he got off the Patriots, I brought him back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm over it, but I'm not a big jersey guy. So if I was ever going to get
I
a jersey,
I'm
I
not
love Edelman to death.
I'm
He was
not either. I'm not either, but I said last year I was going to get an Aaron Rodgers jersey. It took me over a year to get it because
yeah,
everybody in Steelers Dynasty chat, community chat, like, Bubba, you said you were going to get it. And I'm like, well, I'm holding my breath. Maybe they didn't sign him and I didn't have to. I was like, well, I didn't have to get it. And then they signed him. I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to get it. So I picked it up at NFL Shop for 120 bucks because
okay.
they were going for 150 down at training camp, any jersey.
Oh wow.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, okay, well, Cable, thank you so much as always, man. Tonight
absolutely.
was an in-depth. I think we fucking cut it
Yeah, we
open,
haven't
ripped it
done this
apart.
in a while.
Yeah, that'll be, and Doomsday is going to be the same effect, I'm sure. And
Oh,
the pre Doomsday, and then the after Doomsday, after the effects.
yeah.
And we're like, holy fuck, because we're gonna be like, oh, this is gonna happen at a pre-show,
Uh,
and then we're like, oh fuck, this is what happened after. So, but hey, everybody, thank you guys for sticking around. Have a great weekend. Hit like and subscribe. Be safe. I'll let everybody know in the experience post column on the YouTube what day and time. It could be Thursday. It might be just a little earlier because I got to do a live stream and talking 4 hours on a Steeler thing. I'm gonna have to get my voice up. So, but anyway, have a great weekend, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you guys on the flip side. See you, Cable. Have a great one.